So where we're at the moment is we understand that if we have a little bit of a discussion of context, a little bit of discussion of the content, so the themes and values, the form, critical interpretations, through all of this, we can therefore justify that the poetry has enduring value. The question that we will look the most at is this one here about fragmentation and alienation. How does Eliot use fragmentation to portray alienation in his poetry? In terms of unpacking the question, for me, there are a few stages here. The first thing that we're always looking to do, and I think this is pretty intuitive, everybody knows to do this, is to identify the key terms in the question. So obviously here, fragmentation and alienation are those key terms, and we might also chuck in a word like how as being a key term. And then what we need to do is define those key terms. Not looking for a dictionary definition, but define them in relation to Eliot's poetry. In questions, there are often a lot of gaps that are deliberately left, a lot of ambiguities in the language that's chosen, a lot of blanks that are there for us to fill in with our own knowledge. So what you need to be thinking about with a question is, on one level, what is it telling me I need to do? But on another level, what does it not tell me about these key terms? So we might look at this term alienation, but it doesn't tell us things like who is alienated? What are they alienated from? Why are they alienated? How do they try to respond to this alienation? And by breaking down those key terms into smaller questions that our essay can then start to address, it ensures that there's not that sense of repetition in the discussion, but there's always some new way of interpreting and applying the key terms of the question with each paragraph that comes. Like we saw earlier when speaking about alienation and how it could fit within that essay momentum, we can start looking at the responses to alienation, not just what alienation is. So when we're breaking down this question, we look at these three terms, how, fragmentation, and alienation, and we form new sub-questions that our response would need to consider in order to address the main question. When we look at the term how, we're thinking about the language forms and features. That's how composers achieve their purpose, through their form. When we look at fragmentation, we need to have a clear understanding, a clear definition of what is fragmentation and how does Eliot employ this as a poetic device. And then when we look at alienation, we've got to be thinking about these questions of how is alienation portrayed? Alienation from what? What are the effects of alienation? On whom? Why are people alienated? And what is it about fragmentation as a poetic feature that enables the exploration of alienation?